In December 1973, 33 years after the events of A Christmas Story, Ralphie Parker lives in Chicago with his wife Sandy and 2 children, Mark and Julie. Ralph has been taking the year off from his job to write his first novel, but its excessive length leads multiple publishers to reject it. Mrs. Parker calls to tell Ralph that his father, the old man, has died, and the grief-stricken family makes its way to Homan, Indiana to be with her. She gives Ralph 2 tasks: write his father's obituary, and take up his mantle of making Christmas special for the family. Ralph's children befriend one of the Bumpus kids next door, and have their snowman smashed by 2 bullies on a snowmobile. Ralph reunites with Flick, who now owns his father's old tavern, and Schwartz, who still lives with his mother and has run up a large tab at Flick's. While leaving the house to go ice skating, Sandy slips and sprains her ankle. As Christmas Eve approaches, the family goes to Higbee's, where Ralph miraculously buys everything Mark and Julie asked for while the children speak to the store's Santa. On the way back, Ralph's car overheats, and Ralph accidentally hits Julie in the eye during an impromptu snowball fight. After Julie receives a temporary eye patch at the hospital, the family discovers their car was robbed in the hospital parking lot. The presents are gone, and there is little money left to replace them. Back at Flick's, Flick offers to forgive Schwartz's tab if he sleds off a giant ramp. Schwartz manages to complete the stunt, but Mark breaks his arm sledding down the nearby hill afterwards. After Ralph is rejected by his final prospective publisher, he laments his difficulties, but is encouraged by his mother and Sandy. Remembering his favorite Christmas with his father inspires Ralph to write a long article instead of a standard obituary. However, he leaves it on the desk, needing to prepare for Christmas Day. Mark and Julie manage to get back at their bullies by building a snowman over a tree stump so that the snowmobile crashes. On Christmas Eve night, the star falls off the Parker's tree and breaks, upsetting Julie. Frustrated, Ralph ignores objections from his wife and his mother and goes out to find a new star. All the local businesses are already closed, so Ralph breaks into Flick's tavern to borrow the star from the tree. On his way out, he is apprehended by Scut Farkas, now a Homan police officer. Ralph is terrified of what Scut might do to him, but Scut brings him home, saying he owes Ralph because their childhood fight set him on a better path in life. Mrs. Parker goes into the basement to change a fuse and finds several thoughtfully picked, pre-wrapped gifts, which the old man had bought shortly before his death. On Christmas morning, the family is delighted to open them, and all their other presents as well. Ralph is confused by compliments he receives about his piece in the newspaper, and Sandy reveals she found the obituary manuscript and took it to the local paper because of its high quality. The phone rings, and Ralph is offered a new job as a syndicated columnist, fulfilling his dream of becoming a full-time writer. Much of the town comes to the Parker house for Christmas dinner. After dinner concludes, the core family asks Ralph to read them his story about the old man. Ralph takes a seat in his father's armchair and begins reading, and his narration slowly transitions into Gene Shepard's opening narration from the first film.